We are not here for the likes, for the Facebook stuff. We are here to make change. There is nothing standard about testing in the midst of a pandemic. Teachers have had to revolutionize in 7 months what should usually take 10 years to do.
We started this movement about 3.5 weeks ago, and it was right before Thanksgiving that I had lost an elder in my family due to COVID-19. And when that happened, I mean, it was a thing that really broke my heart. It made me realize, like, the moment that we're in and how easily it is for this to touch very close to home. I had this story and shared it with my students the very next day and found out that 3 of my students were actually currently COVID positive. And then that same day, I ended up getting an email from my school saying that we would have to return to the building the following week in order to proctor standardized testing. Now, we've been virtual since March, yet we're forced to go back in the building because of the federal mandate to conduct standardized tests. When I shared this story on social media, it ended up turning into something that resonated with educators throughout the country. And everyone felt a need and an emergency to mobilize with me. We started this organization in a true grassroots way. We're not funded by special interests. We're not a part of any union per se. We have people who are a part of unions, but we are truly just an organic group of educators who want to come together and do what's right.
There are ways to do distance learning and online learning, but we're not doing that. We're trying to pretend it's normal over a camera, and the kids don't connect to that. I don't connect to it, and so relationships are important when you're dealing with children. If there's no relationship, you can't get them to do anything else, especially when they're already struggling.
Our communities cannot afford pods. We cannot afford private tutors. We gotta work. You know, most of my students' parents are at work.
Yep.
And then just like what you said, the relationship. The hardest thing for me, because I love building relationships with my students. So I love knowing what kind of music you listen to. I love learning the latest dance moves. I love them looking in my hair and we exchanging hair tips. Like, those are the type of things that I love doing with the kids, other than, of course, teaching them. And we don't have that. I'm teaching black boxes.
Some of the simple things that people don't think about is it takes time and money to do hair, okay? When parents are out of work, they can't afford to get the kids' haircut or braids or anything done. And then the district is forcing you to make them turn the cameras on. Kids are petrified to turn the cameras on because they don't feel good. They did not get any new clothes this year because mom's not gonna buy me any clothes because mom's out of work and I'm not home. Right?
And now we in the house. Now you can see my walls.
Yes.
Now you can see
Yes.
what I don't
Yes.
have.
Now you can judge me.
Now you can really judge
and
me.
a lot of my
This
kids
is
are
whole-
babysitting.
This is
I'll hear a baby in the background.
Grandma?
I heard a baby in the background one day, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I said, "No, that's your little brother." He said, "Yeah, he just ran in here. My mom ran to the store." I said, "That's okay. How old is he?" We had a whole conversation, but he felt so bad that his little brother made noise. His little brother's 2. I teach 8th grade. I have an 8th grader at home babysitting and trying to do school too, and then feeling bad
Or taking
because
care
the
of
baby
grandma and
disrupted
grandpa.
class.
Right.
You know how many this year I had more deaths from my students, and I'm like, oh my God, how can I?
Sorry I wasn't here on Wednesday. I had to go to my grandmother's funeral. And then we expect them to be at the test on Tuesday.
Education in America is set up to do exactly what America does, right? We produce workers, right? We produce children who don't have any confidence in their autonomy or their creativity or their
I think
capabilities.
they are-
So they go and they work and they make other people rich. But the system is set up like that.
They are so ready to put out the next report.
It's-
During COVID-19. First, our black and brown students were here, and oh my God, now they dropped.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are going to put that report out. It is going to be in fancy paper, color, cardstock. Oh my gosh, look.
Yep, and it's going to be a reason for them to pull funding. The reason I do this, before this year, I've been able to be a catalyst for change inside a system that doesn't work. This year, they've taken away that capability. You're trying to make me a cog in the machine, and I can't. It doesn't sit right
Neither.
with my
That's what I'm
spirit.
saying.
Across political lines, across racial lines, teachers recognize that something's wrong here. But we're so scared, right? And so beat down that we're being quiet. If all teachers had called out today,
Oh my
change
God,
would have happened, right?
I know individually everyone has their own separate movements as far as how to get things accomplished. But if we all work together as a unit, like this Good Teach for Trouble will be a great source to organize with the Atlanta Federation of Teachers or the Georgia Federation of Teachers, where we come together and we can actually work hand in hand to get things passed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.